So that behavioral activation is the brain's reward system. You have the thoughts and you have the feelings, but science is showing that action contributes towards getting results. So go back to the wanting to lose weight. If you have the thoughts and you have the feelings, but you never exercise and you never change your diet, you're not going to have the results. So this ties in really heavily with how you use your inner voice and mind sync if you don't have a hub yet, and what you do once you do, okay? So a lot of this ties in with the different parts of the brain. Now, the hippocampus helps remember past rewarding experiences, okay? Helps you learn new ones, contributes to being motivated and success. I want you to kind of remember this one. I'll show it again later, but it ties in with something else. The limbic system, emotions and motivation. The prefrontal cortex, working memory and decision-making. And the anterior cingulate cortex, goal-directed, motivated behavior. You think she's having a good day? I think she just got done doing the hub. So let's just talk, I can't talk about all four of the brainwaves. Let's just think about theta for a second. Theta acts as a bridge between the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex, okay? So the very fact that theta acts as a bridge between those two, when you're in a theta state, you're open to suggestion, and anything that you run in that hub that you have created from inner voice and mind sync is immediately going to take effect. You're going to have the 30 minutes in the hub of that working on the brain with these parts that interconnect with the RAS, with the reticular activation system. So you're basically putting all parts of the brain in effect, on alert, that this is important to me and this is what we've got to do. And you'll start to see results. Think of the categories that are in the hub for when you use theta, alpha, delta, gamma. You've got all the ones that are for addictions. These also can be used if somebody has a sugar addiction using cocaine, and if they have a gluten addiction, morphine. The structure is very similar, and you can help them with those if they're having a problem with those, or any of the other ones. Here with the physical ones, memory enhancement, focus and concentration, that's one that you can work with that works really well with a lot of those brain waves, as well as the other ones being highly effective. And my favorite one is this one. Being able to work on these and have it where the hub goes in with those brain waves and starts to make new pathways. Think of how long people have to go to therapy just to make some progress. Now, I had a situation back in another lifetime, not a past life, but another lifetime. It was almost 30 years ago. And I had a couple murder attempts on my life. And I had to be in therapy for 5 years to overcome that. And I made a lot of progress and I did really well. In fact, it was one of the reasons I ended up doing what I'm doing now. And I had a day where I had one of the best therapy sessions ever. And I walked out of that office and down to the street, and somebody walked by that looked like, gestured like, and sounded like the person that attacked me. That therapy went right out the window. And I was right back in full on fight or flight, okay? So part of it is that, yes, as I kept talking to the therapist, I was kind of making those new pathways and whatever. But I'm telling you, if you need therapy, by all means, get it. But if you have the ability to get the hub, put it with the hub where the hub goes in the way that I explain it to some of my clients, because sometimes they just don't, they don't understand how this stuff works. And I tell them, look, if you have dogs and they're running through the garden and you don't want them to run through the garden anymore, and you make them run by the house where you want them to be, if they just run by the house once, they're going to just flatten the grass, okay? If you make them do it day after day, it gets to the point where there's a path and they have forgotten about the garden. Now, is that place through the garden still there? Yes. It's just not being used anymore. Well, that's how this works. I know it's not particularly scientific, but it is how it works. If you use those different brain waves in the hub and use these different choices, you literally are making new pathways in the brain, and over time using it with repetition, diligence, and action on what you're doing, you have completely new pathways. Think of the effect that that would have on your life. Think of how that would move out the lint out of the reticular activation system and have it be where it no longer had resistance to your seeing all of the great, beneficial, wonderful opportunities in your life, and also having the self-confidence to just grab them and go. That's what the hub can do. That bouncer has a big job. That part of your brain, if it did not filter out everything that comes into it, would blow up. That lint needs to be gotten rid of. So when you're doing mind sync, whether you have the hub yet or not, I'm just going to go into those statements that I felt were so profound and why. And you can use them in mind sync. And once you decide to get a hub, or if you already have the hub, they would be very valuable to use. And of course, you may have others that you like better, or any variation on a theme is great too. So one of the ones, I am going to have a great day. That is an important statement when you first wake up, because the brain actually has a tendency when you wake up to immediately scan for stress or trauma. And so saying, I am going to have a great day. There was a Dr. Daniel Ammon who scanned 300,000 brains over the last couple decades. And he said that with everything that he learned with how the brain worked, with the reticular activation system and those other areas of the brain, that he found that one of the most important statements he could say the first thing he woke up was, I am going to have a great day. Now, me personally, Mel said the same thing. If somebody that scanned 300,000 brains said that's a thing to say the first thing you wake up, I think I'm going to say it. Now, think of what it would do if that was one of the statements that you put into MindSync. What would happen if you took MindSync, pushed the button, put it into Hub, and ran it on the brainwave that you needed to accomplish what you need to accomplish? What would that do? Other people don't have MindSync and a Hub, and they're getting results. What happens when you fast track it? What happens when you take advantage of what you have access to? It doesn't mean that you're denying reality. If you have to go to a funeral later on that day, and you get up and you say, I'm going to have a great day. Well, actually you could. If saying, I'm going to have a great day, putting it in MindSync and listening to it, and then going to the Hub and running it under the program in Hub, maybe you go to that funeral and you hug people tighter. Maybe you go to that funeral and you remember fond memories to share with their loved ones. Maybe you go later on that day and you have a hot cup of tea with a friend, and maybe those aren't things you would have done if you didn't MindSync it or Hub it or say it, because you just would have been too sad and stayed to yourself. So it's not denying reality. It's reprogramming the brain to look for the opportunities to have a great day, despite the circumstance. And guess what? If you're not programming your brain with MindSync, with inner voice, with the Hub, it's being programmed anyway. It's being done for you. Goes back to that autopilot. It's being programmed by hearing that somebody got shot, giving a program. It's being programmed by the news that you see, the media that you see, the way that your spouse talked to you in a way you didn't like today, the way you ran late for something. It doesn't matter what it is, good, bad, or ugly. If you don't program it, it's being programmed for you. Second one, something really great's going to happen to me today. Why is that good? It creates anticipation, and it gets the reticular activation for the number one, try to make sure you had a good day, and for number two, look for things really cool that it can have you see based on what you already told it's important in inner voice, mind sync, and the hub. You know, there's 4 things that the reticular activation system lets through. 4 things immediately. The rest you got to work at. One is your name. How many of you have been in a crowd and somebody says, "Hey, Nancy"? And if you're Nancy, now you're in a crowd. There's all these people here. The reticular activation lets your name through. Now, what does Lauren say you start with inner voice with? I am your name. It's very powerful. It gets right through to the reticular activation system. Maybe that's why inner voice works so well. Imagine that, okay? Second thing, danger. Reticular activation system is always on alert for danger. It's there to protect you. Unfortunately, through events in life, sometimes it gets where it goes in and protects us a little too much. And that's when we don't see different opportunities. We haven't moved past different things in the past that we're actually ready to move forward from. The third one, I find this one interesting. You're at a party and somebody's interested in you. Okay? You're at a party, somebody shows interest in you, the whole room disappears. The RAS is totally focused. His eyes are so dreamy. I love his voice. Oh my goodness. You know, goes on and on. So somebody's interested in you. Now, is it only a romantic interest? No. Your boss is interested in you at work in an idea you have. A friend is interested in taking a vacation with you. Your mate is interested in something you have to say. Anything like that that is personal interest being shown in you, the RAS likes to pay attention to. It's important. And then the fourth thing that the RAS lets in, anything you deem important. Start using inner voice, mind sync, and the hub to tell it what's important to you. Clean out the lint. No matter what happens today, I can handle it. I'm living proof I'm up here. No matter what happens today, I can handle it. You saw me drop my notes earlier, right? When I was 12 years old, I gave a talk in front of 200 people, and I dropped my notes, and I picked them up, and I couldn't put them back in order. And ever since then, I've never used notes. Since I was 12 years old, this is the first time I had the courage, and my RAS let me use notes. and I repeated history, and I had a flash of, yeah. Okay, so no matter what happens today, I can handle it. You know what anxiety is? It's really doubting your own ability. In almost every situation, it's doubting your own ability to handle a situation. A lot of us have in the morning a cortisol awakening response, and the cortisol is supposed to wake you up and get you up and going. And if you're somebody that's anxious all the time, people watch out for the fact that you might be somebody that when you have that cortisol awakening response, you actually feel like you're having a mild panic attack in the morning, and you're not. You're actually having a cortisol awakening response. And that's something that you also can work on through your inner voice, mind sync, and hub to get it where that doesn't feel so anxious to you in the morning. Number 4. An exciting new chapter of my life is starting today. Doesn't matter what happened yesterday, doesn't matter if you're facing things that are stressful, that could be harmful, whatever. A new chapter, exciting chapter of my life is starting today. And repetition of that daily in your inner voice, your mind sync, and your hub is very important. Dr. LaBelle in her Wednesday night talk had a lot about how valuable repetition is with these type of sayings. The other thing is, I am my own cheerleader. Now here's why. Most of what you do is invisible to other people. You know, if you wait for somebody else to be your cheerleader, a lot of times there's a big, long time between when you do stuff and when somebody says, hey, well done, okay? You have to be your own cheerleader. You have to be the one that recognizes, I got up this morning, I answered the email this morning, I returned a phone call, I got in touch with that friend that I haven't talked to forever. Oh my gosh, I got the kids fed. This is amazing. I got a load of laundry in. I got to work. I did this, I did that, I did something else. I got home. I don't know about all of you, but I have a saying, there are days when I wake up and I am so behind, I feel like I can see my behind. From the minute I wake up, right? So you have to be your own cheerleader, and you have to realize that your to-do list is actually just a wish list. It's just a wish list. It's what you feel like you would feel magical about if you got all through it. But don't beat yourself up at the end of the day when you haven't done it. It's just a wish list. Be your own cheerleader. Tell yourself how well you did that way. And some days there may only be 2 or 3 things that you can be a cheerleader about, but dang it, be your own cheerleader anyway. And those statements of being your own cheerleader and that statement of an exciting new chapter, those are the statements you put in your mind sync. Those are the statements you listen to in your hub. Those are the things, if you have to, you play overnight with a headband in your hub so that by the next morning, your Raz is ready to cheer you on. Okay. Number 6. I am allowed to be my own work in progress. Okay? I am allowed to be my own work in progress. You are a work in progress from the day you are born until the day you pass away. And you have to allow yourself to be a work in progress. Say that in your mind sync. I'm allowed to be a work in progress. I'm doing a great job. I'm way past where I was last year. Isn't this great? I know this is true. I decided to launch a podcast last fall, and time took over, life took over, everything took over. And I didn't launch it until July 1st. And I'm really having fun with it. It terrorizes me sometimes because I'm not real comfortable in front of the camera. But I'm getting better at it, and I really like it. And I'm just, patting myself on the back, and I'm really starting to enjoy it. But it took a lot of theta and a lot of inner voice and a lot of doing mind sync to just constantly help myself get to that point. So anytime that you're facing any kind of challenge like that, using these statements and using the tools we have gets it where you get results faster. You make it to where you want to be. You're joyful about it. You're happy about it. And it doesn't mean you don't have bad days in between or whatever, but you have the tools to quickly recover. If any lint has made its way back into your reticular activation system, you scoop it out and there you go. So here is another one. I keep showing up in life, and because I keep showing up, life rewards me. It's the repetition, it's the reps, it's the reps, it's the reps. The reticular activation system, the other parts of the brain are just like muscles. It's the reps. You have to keep repeating these things. You have to keep doing your inner voice. You have to keep putting the statements in mind sync. You have to keep doing the hub with the statements, with the different brain waves that you can use. You have to do the reps. How many years of accumulating lint did it take you to get here? You can fast track it with inner voice, mind sync, and the hub, but it still is going to take time and work. You have to do the reps, and you have to follow the reps up with the action, which in itself has to be repetitive. It's a lot of work, but it is so worth it. And the end results, yes, when you keep showing up, life rewards you. And those good opportunities keep showing up, and that's the reward. The last one, I have something to give to myself, my family, my friends, and the world. Now, this is a saying that was going out from Mel Robbins to people that don't have what we have. Now, don't you have something that is important to give to yourself, your family, your friends, and the world? Isn't it right in your hand? It just blows me away what we have and what we can do with it. So the hippocampus helps remember past rewarding experiences. The limbic system works on emotions and motivation. The prefrontal cortex, memory and decision. The anterior cingulate cortex, goal-directed motivated behavior. And then I remember. What's I remember? This is interesting. I remember ties in with the hippocampus, and the hippocampus directly ties in with the frontal cortex, and they both work real closely with your RAS. I remember is where you make statements to your mind sync, and in the hub, you remember. Now, let's say it's about losing weight. I remember the day that I lost 10 pounds. I was wearing that fantastic pair of jeans that I couldn't get into unless I lay on the bed and pulled up the zipper for at least 6 months. And I remember it was because I was eating this diet, and I remember that the sun was shining and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You do statements like that. You have a discussion with your 5-year future self as to ask questions. They looked like this, and you ask your future self on a railroad platform, how did you get where you are? How did you get so successful? How did you get so thin? How did you make the advancements that you made? You have a discussion with your future self, and you kind of write down the notes from how you would want the discussion to go. And then you use that as, I remember when. Now, the science behind that is that I remember, science is starting to see that because the hippocampus remembers past results, when you start saying, I remember, whether you're female or a male, about the things you want to achieve and the things you want to do, there's a slight hiccup in the reticular activation system and the hippocampus. And what they do is go, I don't remember that. What happened? What happened? And it searches the memory banks and tries to find the memory, and it can't find the memory, and the brain automatically puts on steroids, we got to get on that. So the science is starting to show that you can activate your reticular activation system, RAS. You can activate your RAS, and you can get the hippocampus to work with it as well as the other parts of the brain by using I remember statements. It's a lot of fun to try and do. And it's really cool when you start seeing it happen. So you change your RAS, you change your life. Minute to minute, second to second, that bouncer is going to start having you see opportunities you've never seen before. You can have the thoughts, you can change the mindset, but in order to get to that side that you really want to be consistent, you have to take the action. Have to take the action. And that leads to success. And I can't stress enough how much the hub takes what inner voice and mind sync does and elevates it to nuclear. Being able to influence your brain with all of those brain waves to get the effect that you want, using the things that you have already seen in your scanner. Think of when you do a comprehensive and it gives you the list of emotions you have to work on. You don't use negative emotions when you're speaking into inner voice or mind sync, but you can look at the ones that you have to work on and use the positive of it, turn it around, and then use it in the hub. So the hub is just a phenomenal tool that you can add that is so valuable that I would really highly suggest that you guys put it on your radar if you don't have it. And if you do have it, with no hub, can you get results with inner voice and mind sync? Absolutely. But if you want to put it on nuclear steroids, consider putting the hub on your horizon. I've got 3 books that you might want to write down. One is The Source by Dr. Tara Swart, Taraswart. The Source. Talks all about the brain. It's a fascinating book, and it's written in a very well-written, humorous way that you'll enjoy. The other one of her books, she has multiple ones, is Cleaning Up Your Mental Mind Mess by Dr. Carolyn Leaf. She has a number of books. Dr. Carolyn Leaf, Cleaning Up Your Mental Mind Mess. The third one is a very interesting one. One of the co-authors was Joe Vitale, that was in The Secret, but he partnered with a man named Daniel Barrett. So Daniel Barrett and Joe Vitale, and they wrote a book called The Remembering Process. And it goes into the science behind the remembering process, and they give you all kinds of examples. I didn't agree with the entire book, but there was a ton of it that I really saw that was just something that would be really valuable to latch onto. In fact, after the first 20 pages, if your view of time hasn't changed, they really give some really good insights into the different dimensions of time. So The Remembering Process by Daniel Barrett and Joe Vitale. And then, of course, Mel Robbins. Big hand of applause from me to her, because she inspired me a couple days ago with those sayings, because I felt they were really important for MindSync and the Hub. Well, thank you, and like it says, happy hubbing.
Do you feel in tune with your body? Nearly 70% of Americans don't. They say the healthcare system isn't meeting their expectations. Why? Modern medicine often focuses on symptoms, while innovation is slowed by bureaucracy, outdated systems, and cost. Millions of people are looking for empowering solutions that align with the body, rather than override it to support a longer, more vibrant life. Powerful wellness tools are available to help, but few know they exist. They can accurately allow us to assess and understand our body. Your body is composed of trillions of vibrating cells constantly communicating via subtle frequencies, just like satellite systems, Wi-Fi, and radio waves. These communication signals are part of your natural biofield, but daily exposure to environmental stressors, technology, and emotional pressure can influence those frequencies. This interference may affect how you feel, focus, and function. Supporting your body's natural frequency patterns may help you reconnect with clarity, calm, and balance. The question is, how can you tune into those patterns and learn from them? The answer is in the palm of your hand. Meet AO Scan technology. AO Scan is an advanced wellness program that simply helps support a healthy biofield. Using proprietary algorithms and a library of frequency blueprints, the AO Scan identifies variances and delivers supportive frequencies designed to encourage balance and harmony. What can AO Scan do for you? Here are just a few unique tools inside the system. Let's start with our most popular module, Cephi. Need support with energy, focus, or restful sleep? Cephi, or Subtle Energy Frequency Imprinter, helps you broadcast or imprint subtle frequencies aligned with your personal wellness goals. Choose from thousands of frequency playlists designed to support mental clarity, emotional ease, seasonal transitions, and more. Let's move to another powerful module within the AO Scan, Inner Voice. Your voice reveals more than words. It reflects your current energetic and emotional tone. Inner Voice records a 10-second voice sample and uses sound harmonization to create custom audio tracks that promote emotional awareness and inner calm. These tones incorporate elements like binaural beats, harmonics, and color suggestions for a multi-sensory wellness experience. Listen a few times a day to help cultivate presence, confidence, and emotional clarity. Up next, we have vitals, body systems, and comprehensive scans. These features offer a deeper look at your body's energetic patterns. Using blueprint frequencies, you can explore insights related to common themes such as energy flow, stress response, or physical resilience. Vitals gives a quick snapshot of frequency trends across multiple energetic themes. Body Systems maps frequency patterns associated with different functional systems. Comprehensive explores even more layers of vibrational data tied to organs, bones, and cells, offering expanded insight into your energetic profile. Next is Easy Scan. In just 6 minutes, Easy Scan combines 3 powerful features: Inner Voice, Vitals, and Comprehensive into one seamless experience. It delivers a unified frequency-based report that helps you explore and understand your current energetic state and how to support it through daily practices. Feeling unfocused or ungrounded? Try Quick Scan. It offers short wellness experiences throughout your day. Choose sessions like Supercharger, Relax, Grounding, or Focus. Each one is designed to support your mood and mindset. Last, but far from least, is AO MindSync. AO MindSync lets you record and customize powerful affirmations in your own voice. Combine tones, music, and emotional intent into a guided listening experience that helps reinforce your mindset and personal goals. All of these features, and many more, are designed to help you reconnect, realign, and restore balance to your biofield. As Albert Einstein said, "The future of medicine is frequency. That future is closer than you think. It's already in your hands." Welcome to Possibility. Welcome to AO Scan,